Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. Today we're going to discuss plate carriers and body armor if you're not a Navy SEAL. Now, what does that mean? If you're not a Navy SEAL, if you're not a SWAT team member, if you're not in the military, then this video will directly apply to you. Stay tuned. Also, nobody else is sharing real information for civilians on body armor. The only people sharing information on plate carriers and body armor, military, ex-military, law enforcement guys. So we have an issue here. The role of a law enforcement or a military person does not apply to the civilian for body armor. Now, when I say plate carriers and lump it in with body armor, that's because in our modern world, the plate carrier is just very simply the most common, the most effective, the modern evolution of body armor in today's times, in our modern times. If you've considered purchasing body armor or a plate carrier or thinking about armoring up as a civilian, this video will tell you everything you need to know. Definitely watch this before you purchase. I will cover what things you need to consider about body armor, but first I'm going to cover whether you should purchase it or not, and then we'll get into, of course, you're going to decide. You're not going to take my word for whether you're going to purchase it or not, but as soon as I give you a little bit of an outline of whether or not you should really even be considering it and at what point in your tactical preparedness, then we'll discuss what things you need to look at as far as body armor goes. And I'll talk about, I think I have 8 different companies here of armor suppliers that we'll talk about, comparing and contrasting and all that. So as a civilian, the one thing that you should start by knowing is also one of the things nobody else will tell you, and that's because they probably don't know. If they're military giving advice to a civilian or law enforcement giving advice to a civilian, then they probably don't realize, or they may not know, or they may just not care, they might just want to sell you something, that as a prepper or being prepared, a plate carrier or body armor is the last thing you should purchase. Absolutely the final thing that you should purchase. It's probably right there after night vision. Night vision simply because it's such a huge investment, but plate carriers and body armor are also very expensive. And you might say, Bone, wait, there's cheap. Stop right there. Don't even consider cheap body armor. It's useless. It's 100% completely useless. I've had so many companies send me cheap armor plates, rifle plates, and they are terrible. They're useless. Why is that? Well, we'll get into that. The first thing that you need to do is realize that everybody's an individual and everybody's situation is different. So if you're watching this video and you want to know, do I need body armor? Ask yourself one question. Why would I need body armor? As a civilian, if you want body armor for home defense, ridiculous, unless you're going to sleep in your body armor. When somebody kicks your door in, are you going to stop and put on body armor and let them be shooting at you while you're putting your body armor on? I don't think so. Are you going to put that in your hierarchy of lists of things that you're going to do? If you hear a thump in the night, you're going to put your body armor on first? Not a good idea. You have so many other things that you need to do. You need to worry about if you have a family, where your family's at. You need to have some sort of a offensive plan, okay? And getting to a point where you have the advantage to defend yourself offensively. But anyway, that's for another video. Body armor is the last consideration. Are you the type of civilian that you're going to have a plate carrier rack right next to your bed? Is your wife going to have one too? Or your kids going to have them? Are you going to train and practice and put them on? That's why I say it's the last thing you need, because you say, Bone, I'm that guy. I got a plate carrier next to my bed. I'm ready to go. Okay. So if your family or whoever you live with, or you live by yourself, if you're ready for that, if you train and you practice and you flashbang yourself and jump up and throw your plate carrier on while you're sleeping, hey, more power to you, buddy. But you're already proficient with an offensive weapon, whatever it is, whether you're not allowed to own a firearm where you're watching this video and what you have happens to be a tomahawk and a can of wasp spray, could be, okay? Smoke bombs, fireworks, I don't know. If you're a good old freedom-loving American citizen and you sleep with a Browning automatic rifle next to your bed, my guy, awesome, more power to you. Still, the plate carrier consideration is the last thing that you're going to want to do. Just let's understand that. And the reason for that is consider your role. Okay, so you're a civilian. what are some other possibilities that you may want a plate carrier for? If you're a prepper and you're thinking zombie apocalypse style stuff, okay, what's actually going to happen if we ever enter into some sort of end of the world scenario, natural disaster, rioting, civil or social unrest, or civil war, whatever you want to say? You're going to be an insurgent, right? So you taking advice from military or law enforcement, that's going to be your enemy. Insurgents don't wear uniforms with body armor. Bad idea. So when you're considering all of these things, take it from a guy who has had to survive as a fugitive, or as one would have to in a civil war scenario. You don't have the luxury of wearing full kit, body armor, all that kind of stuff, because most of the time, just those things where there's a military checkpoint or when you have an enemy that's well established and has the power dynamic in their favor, you're just going to get picked out and taken out right away. You're going to get shot from 1,600 meters by somebody who has a good gun, hot on the long gun. And what's going to happen to you? They're going to come take your plate carrier with their bigger group of people. You're going to want to have the ability to not immediately be noticed as a prepared person. So for so many situations, for a civilian, plate carriers are not a consideration. If they are a consideration for you, like I say, last thing you want to purchase. Anyway, let's jump right into plate carrier considerations. Now, what military and law enforcement guys will tell you is that you want to look at the size of the plate carrier, which is fairly true. My experience is very different because when I have had the luxury of having armor and I'm overseas operating, then I don't really get to choose very often. The armor that's available is probably a standard size. And another thing that military guys don't understand is that the human torso really doesn't vary so much as you would think. It's maybe 2 inches, maybe an inch on each side of the plate that you're going to have from anywhere from a medium to a large, anywhere from a medium to a small. It might be 2 inches. You probably got an inch on the top, an inch on the bottom, an inch on the left, an inch on the right. That's variable in that Gucci guy who's got all the first world luxury items, the American, that gets to choose his plates. Most Army guys, U.S. military guys also don't get to choose what they wear. So they have to wear what they wear. They get told what they get to what they have to wear. They don't get to make their own decisions. They don't really know other than what's been crammed down their throat. So be very careful where you're getting your information from. If you're getting your information from a Navy SEAL, which is where most people go for some reason to get plate carrier information, that guy has had all of the resources in the world. Millions of dollars of resources are dedicated to him and his team. Okay. So of course he gets to have a tailored plate carrier from the most Gucci brand with tailored plates. And he has the luxury of choosing whether to wear side plates for this mission or this, that, or the other. Guys, most of you are not billionaires getting to choose all that stuff and then having all the training on top of it. So a lot of Navy SEALs, obviously not the ones who are just fresh out of buds, but a lot of Navy SEALs that have been in the program for a while or in the teams for a while, they've had the opportunity to train at specialized schools. So some of them have specialized training. Some of them are pretty legit operators. And that equipment helps them because they know how to use it. They know what they're doing. And it fits a role of all of this other equipment that you also don't have, of having QRF, quick reaction force, medical professionals that are right away coming to save you. I don't worry so much about body armor because nobody's coming to save me. And if I get my arm blown off because I had a plate carrier and it stopped 3 rounds from an AK and the 4th round from the AK hit right here, I've seen it, guys. I've literally seen AK rounds nearly cut somebody's arm off with 1 round. Okay, so it's like, do I want to be alive? I'm a Christian. I know where I'm going when I die. I'm okay. I would rather take a direct hit that takes me out right away if I'm going to get all shot up. I don't want to be in some third world hospital with trying to patch up what used to be where my arm used to be, and then living the rest of my life with 1 arm as a knife maker. So, we've got to consider our individual circumstances, right? All of this huge introduction, probably 5-minute introduction, is just going to warn you that you really don't know what you think you know, probably. Like, all of my videos are mind-blowing and giving a different perspective on things that is not the popular perspective, but it's the intelligent thinking man's perspective. So do you need a plate carrier? Probably not. If you have all of the training of a Navy SEAL, if you have all of the weapons of a Navy SEAL, then get the plate carrier of a Navy SEAL after that. It's the final thing. So now that we're getting into choosing a plate carrier as a civilian, it's 100% the opposite of what the Navy SEAL will tell you. A Navy SEAL will tell you that you want space for your comms, that you want 8 magazines, that you want this, that, the other. As a civilian, if you're gonna have body armor, you want body armor that you'll be able to conceal, because you don't know what your mission role is gonna be. You don't know when you're gonna be putting on that body armor. If it's strictly for home defense and you're never gonna wear it outside your house, that's great. It's mostly gonna be real estate for you. What do I mean by that, real estate? My number one thing for me when I look at a plate carrier is real estate. I mean that it basically is a chest rig. Now I have a chest rig that has the added benefit of, guess what? I have a chest rig that has a little bit of armor protection. I'm not getting it as a number one goal for the armor. I'm getting it as a number one goal to when I'm getting in and out of vehicles, I have a pistol that's right here. Right here. Look what happens when I'm seated. Right here. Boom. Pistol. Okay? So many people don't understand the concept of attaching a pistol to a plate carrier. Everybody that's making these videos will tell you that you need the loadout of the Navy SEAL guy who's got $400,000 worth of gear, $1 million worth of gear. Are you guys gonna have that complete $1 million gear system? Are you gonna listen to that advice? Do you have 4 other, 5 other, 6 other, 2 other Navy SEALs, Green Berets, whatever the heck they are, with you in your team? Okay, you don't. So the same things don't apply to you. This is why we need to pick our role, what we're gonna be using it for. Sure, if you're gonna be using it in your house for home defense, which is the only real plausible reason the civilian might want one, unless they're a super prepper and they want one in their vehicle, but the same considerations are gonna apply. What most people don't consider is the time, an instant. That's how fast something happens. That's how fast you're sleeping and you're woken up. All right, somebody throws a brick through your window. By the time your groggy butt gets out of bed and you realize what's going on, that person's in your bedroom with a laser dot on your face. You know what I mean? What's the first thing you're gonna do? Put your plate carrier on? Hold on, buddy, let me get my plate carrier on. You know, a lot of these people giving advice on the internet are just mind-blowingly ignorant. Check somebody's credentials. Have they ever been in any kind of a physical altercation? Have they ever had to defend themselves with a firearm? Have they ever been shot at? Okay, so a lot of things here that we need to consider. I don't think there's anybody giving advice that says have a plate carrier for self-defense that's had to defend themselves in their home. Anyway, nothing wrong with that, but what should you consider? Okay, real estate, you want to be able to attach stuff. Now, almost all plate carriers have MOLLE. I've had so many level 1 guys, and if you don't know what a level 1 guy is, you definitely have to check out the tactical skill level playlist, learn how to advance a little bit. So many level 1 guys have seen me wearing this plate carrier and made comments like, "Oh, pegboard, you have pegboard on your chest." Or, "Look, there's zip ties holding your stuff on. Have you tried running with that? It's gonna fall off." I've had such ignorant, foolish comments like, really guys, you've never heard of stainless steel zip tie that's rated to, man, I use stainless steel zip ties for things that have taken thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure. That's not the ones I use on my plate carriers. I use tie and bets with a metal locking stainless steel, just the insert. Those things are so strong and they're fast and they're modular. And guess what? MOLLE, guys, is something military ignorance has crammed down your throat. MOLLE is a system for ignorant, very slow people who are the general average population of your U.S. Army soldier that is disposable. The government's throwing them on the front line. We want to get them something cheap, idiot-proof the gear. I don't care if there's stuff strapped all over them. They're just going to die anyway. It doesn't matter if they get caught in heavy brush or in doorways. Don't worry about it. That's what MOLLE is. Unfortunately, there's not a dynamic of intelligent people who are creating plate carriers much outside of guys like Snake Eater Tactical. And also, unfortunately, this particular plate carrier didn't hit it off so much because people didn't understand how much better this system was than Molle. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Real estate is number one. This is the best plate carrier I've ever found, and they don't make them anymore because people don't understand as a civilian role what you actually would need as a plate carrier, and there's been nothing close to this that's been designed or produced. I can do anything I want with this with some simple heavy-duty UV-rated zip ties and go crazy with any kind of configuration that I want. Fully concealable, just big enough to, super minimalist, just big enough to carry the plates that I want it to carry, and amazing plate carrier. I've got another one, which is their current model, which is this Tropical Multicam. That's what they're selling to the public. My favorite plate carriers are Snake Eater Tactical. I'll comment and link all these in the description below. But what you guys, first consideration, I don't think is size, other than wanting something that's small and concealable. So concealability for size. Definitely, if you're going to be buying one, check your size of your chest. You know, check how big you are, whatever. Like I say, I've never bought a body armor in my life. It's always been given to me, provided by the employer, or now everybody sends me body armor all the time and plate carriers all the time, so it gets featured in my videos. You know, I'm not super picky about what sizes it is, just because haven't been that guy that was able to complain. If I'm in Guatemala and somebody's paying me to do a job and I gotta go do it and they give me a body armor or they don't, I'm happy to have what I have, if it works, right? I've used Colombian soft armor. You guys have seen that in some probably photos and videos I've got here. I've used, I think there's the Mercenary Weapons one that's got Colombian soft armor in there. I've used rifle plates, all that kind of stuff. So speaking of actual body armor, very quickly, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, simplify it. There's NIJ standards. In Colombia, they use different standards. There's level 1 through 7 that they use for vehicles, sometimes for armor, sometimes for whatever. So what you basically want to look for, right now, the best you can probably get is protection up to a 30-06 black tip, or armor piercing 30-06. That's pretty much the highest qualification. It's going to be your consideration of a rifle plate. Some of you guys might be able to get away with a special threat level, which is basically up to a 5.56 mild steel green tip. It's not armor piercing, but they do a pretty good job. They go through soft armor like butter. Everything you need to know about plates, you want to look for the style you want. There's shooter's cut, or there's the standard, like whatever NATO or whatever plate carrier setup there is. Shooter's cut just has more space in here. There's different sizes. Sizes aren't super important. If you're going to be buying it, definitely look into the sizes. But like I say, from medium to the biggest size and medium to the smallest size, there's maybe 2 inches of difference, an inch at the top, inch at the bottom. You have to make sure that the plate carrier you get can fit the plates in it. So look into that before spending your money. Great. If you're a big guy, get a big plate. If you're a small guy or a woman and small woman, get a small plate. If you want to know what the best plates out there are, Hesco is pretty much all I run. And that's just because you can kind of, generally speaking, trust them. They have been known for selling plates that don't work, just like pretty much everybody has. The things that you never want to even think about, AR-500, or steel plates, never metal plates, never, because they're so heavy, they actually hurt you worse than they help you. The likelihood of you actually getting shot and it helping you with the plate is very slim. So you really it's not that important, okay? It's just a little extra added benefit. Don't get something that's going to weigh you down and slow you down and get you shot. It's better to not get shot in the first place. And that's what having a concealable system is going to help you with. Very light, especially you guys. If you guys aren't out there running marathons with your 50-pound CrossFit vests, maybe those guys, maybe David Goggins, if you haven't heard of him, he's this guy that talks about running till he poops in his pants. Maybe that guy can get metal plates and use them because he has the capacity to do long distance or whatever. It's still going to hurt him because he's still not going to be as fast as he would be without him. So there's almost nobody, right, that's going to want metal plates. So ceramic plates is the way to go. Check the size, make sure it fits your plate carrier, get the highest protection you can afford. Boom, so simple. Everybody really overcomplicates body armor. Try and get it from a trusted brand, a big name brand. Hopefully it actually works. And then get it to fit your size, get the cut you want, whether it's shooter's cut or not. So before you get all of that, think about the real estate, make it concealable. Now let's talk a little bit about the plate carriers that we've got here and the differences between them. Again, the one I'm wearing is absolute minimum. This is from Snake Eater Tactical. Unbelievable system that's thinking outside the box. It's not Molly. Super minimalist, very thin everywhere, helps with concealability, has all my real estate needs, and fits the plate that I need it to fit. That simple. It's a plate carrier. All it does is carry a plate, and it has attachment points everywhere that I want them. Some guys might consider side plates, okay? Cummerbunds, all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. You do want some kind of system here where you can breathe. Okay, this has elastic. You don't want the rigid systems because it'll either be flopping around if it's too loose or it'll be so tight that you can't breathe. You definitely don't want a plate that's too tight you can't breathe. Plate carrier, excuse me. You don't want it to be so tight you can't breathe. So you want flexibility. You want it to be able to have that little bit of flex of some sort of elastic somewhere in the system. And they call the cummerbund. This is from LA Police Gear. This is a huge one. This particular plate carrier, I actually put plates in it and shot them. I've got a separate video on that. I put some metal plates in here from RTS Tactical and shot them. And of course they stopped them. What I use metal plates for plate carriers for is actually for target practice or for armoring something. If I wanted to armor something that's either a vehicle or stationary, something I don't have to carry, okay? Because they're just too heavy to be useful for anything else. What we have here behind me, I'm gonna have to look up this floral one. They sent it to me. I don't remember the name. I'll tag it in the description below. Everything will be tagged in the description below. I've got a few plates here from SciTac, which is a Chinese company, but they do a pretty good job. I haven't been able to find anything necessarily wrong with them. Had them for a few years. That's the black one back there. Funny enough, I've actually used that plate carrier there, the green one over there, a lot of different countries. It's been in a lot of countries with me. It's been overseas, all over the place. I would go to different countries and just get whatever plates I could get and stick them in that one. It's a Condor. I've had it for like 15 years, easily 15 years. And what I really like about that green Condor one is that you guys have probably seen really old videos or pictures of me with using that all over the world. And the cool thing about it, like I say, is that it's huge. It's got a huge pocket area. Pretty much any plate you can find will fit in there. I love that it's pretty thin, really heavy duty. That was my plate carrier for, like I say, for a very long time and one of the cheapest. So if, you know, a military guy might not like that because it doesn't have all the crazy stuff all over it, but extra pockets and extra doohickeys, I don't know what a military guy needs. I'm not calling in fire support. I don't need all kind of comm systems. For a civilian or even for a mercenary or for a private security contractor that is not working for a huge company in an active war zone with all of the same equipment that a military person would use, that's a great plate carrier, and it's cheap. This other one here on the bottom, I really like. That's from RTS Tactical. And I really like that because it's a slick plate carrier specifically designed for being concealed. It doesn't cover number one, so you'd have to probably have two plate carriers in that situation. It wouldn't be a good plate carrier for home defense. It's specifically designed to be concealable. The Predator armor next to it's really, really cheap, really, really simple. It's trying to be something similar to this Snake Eater Tactical, but not even close. It's their version of a minimalist plate carrier. I can't recommend Predator armor. I don't like their plates. They're metal plates. I don't like anything about what they do. Can't recommend them. And just like AR-500, it's just pretty much the worst of what you can get. And they're just, in my opinion, they're preying on the ignorant and selling stuff to civilians that civilians don't need. And if anything, will just hurt them. And, you know, I don't stand for that. So can't promote those guys. But I can help you guys not to make this mistake of buying stuff like that. Over there next to it is another version of the LA Police Gear that I'm wearing right here. And I would say that LA Police Gear would probably be my recommendation for if you're going to be wanting something that's inexpensive yet comfortable that you could have for that home defense need, or if you have it for an active shooter situation, you have a kit in your car that's like an active shooter situation. If you feel like if you have to go through rioting or looting and the entire government of your country isn't necessarily going to fail, you know, or you're in somewhere where you're authorized to wear a plate carrier, then, you know, those are nice to have. Like, say if I'm a bodyguard and I'm protecting somebody, it's going to be the same thing for you. If you're a dad and you want to be able to protect your kids, I might have a plate carrier like this because it's big and bulky, but it's comfortable. And if I am in a situation or if a threat level's going up and I have an opportunity to stop the vehicle, let's say, and put plate carriers on, and it's not going to be an issue that it's drawing too much attention, you can think about like press people. A press person might want a plate carrier like this who's a civilian, a NATO person, maybe somebody who's a missionary, but it's such a dangerous area that you're authorized to be wearing a plate carrier, but you're non-combat role, something like these, because they're comfortable, right? And then at that point you would want everything would change for you. You would want a lot of plates. There's probably nothing wrong with side plates at that point. Definitely any kind of an added benefit, but that's not in a role as an operator necessarily. That's in a role, non-combat role, like I say. First thing you have to consider is your role. That non-combat role, that person's not going to be wanting any kind of necessarily real estate. They're just going to be wanting to make sure that they have this big Velcro section so they can have their press badge or non-combatant or American Red Cross or whatever it is there. Then all of that concealed plate carrier stuff does not apply to that person. And that's why we would want to look at something that is really kind of has padding and being more comfortable. I don't care about padding and being more comfortable because it doesn't really help me in any way. This is just very thin, Hypalon, I think it's called, and I don't see absolutely any need of having any kind of more padding. This is not uncomfortable for me, and there's no padding whatsoever. The one thing I would have liked on this one in particular is that I wish these were a little bit longer because they're maxed out right now, and this is higher than it should be. This is about it's right at my collarbone. I usually like it to be like right around there. I usually like it to be right around that level right there where I can kind of, the bottom line of my sternum instead of the top line of my, collarbone, I guess you would say. You definitely don't want anything that's going to ride up and hit you in the throat. Lots of stuff to consider. Because I like to carry my pistol here, getting in and out of vehicles, I do like to have mine ride a little bit lower when possible. But like I say, I used this and never had an issue with it. There's definitely a lot to consider when looking for a plate carrier, but that's first what you need to do. Like I say, to reiterate real quickly here, determine your role, why you would actually need a plate carrier. If you're going to be using one in some type of a self-defense role or you're a combatant role, you're thinking that you're going to be using one along with your weapon system, first get your weapon system squared away, your skills squared away, and then get a plate carrier as an accessory for real estate, to carry extra magazines, to carry line one gear based off of your training and your skills and your weapons that you're using to defend yourself. Otherwise, you really aren't ready for a plate carrier yet if you don't know extra mags for what's your defense plan? What weapon do you have always? What weapon do you always have in your house? What weapon do you always have on you? Do you need extra mags if it's a active shooter kit? How quickly can you get it on and off? If you're thinking it's for some kind of an end of the world scenario, you want it to be concealable and very minimalist. If you're using it for protection in a dangerous area in a non-combat role, you might want something big and bulky with a lot of plates that are comfortable. And finally, the final composition, briefly, and looking over a plate carrier in and of itself, you want to have a grab handle on the back. There's not really any reason not to have that. If you do have somebody that wants to help you and you do get hurt, it's pretty easy to grab that and drag somebody with. There's a lot of training you can do as well to be doing buddy drags and shooting. Cummerbund, okay, if you have the ability to use side plates, or you're considering side plates, cool, get a cummerbund that has side plate capabilities. Every cummerbund, even if it's a minimal cummerbund, should have some way to attach stuff to it. I attach rifle mags to this one, and it's just a piece of nylon, but it's doubled and it has loops in there. So it's basically MOLLE attachable for extra rifle mags. And of course, I don't put them on my right side, but if you guys are left-handed, you could put maybe like a knife or something over there, whatever you guys might want to have, but adaptability is nice. There's just no reason not to have cummerbunds that have an attachment method. They also has to have some kind of elastic somewhere in there. Make sure you have elastic, because if you don't have elastic, you can't get it tight enough to where it's not going to be flopping around. And it's so important to be speed, quick, agile, not to be making noise, not to have stuff banging and jingling and jangling, because you're going to get caught in doorways, caught in heavy brush. You're going to be making noise, give your position away. Everything has to be squared away. You need to be quick and be able to move, get to cover, get to concealment, get in and out of concealment without carrying shrubbery with you everywhere you go. This is all super important stuff about plate carriers. Streamlined, concealable. Like I say, real estate options. Consideration of the cummerbund is the real estate option. If you have the opportunity to, look into padding and comfort for somebody that's going to be a non-combat role and wearing this for a long time, or somebody that is going to be a combat role on a uniform team, if you're in some kind of a militia, maybe, I don't know anything about the militia stuff, then you might want to look at big, comfortable, all that kind of stuff. Or if you just like to do airsoft, which is basically what I think militia actually is anymore. They're basically playing dress up and having fun on the weekends. Funny thing that I see every time I see these militia pictures, the kit on these guys is just horrendous, and most of them they're so fat that they can't even get the stuff on. I mean, I'm not in fighting shape right now. I'm 260, a little overweight, but I still go and run a few times a week and train, you know what I mean? Like, unbelievable. Like, guys look like they had to have somebody else put their plate carrier on for them just for the picture. Maxed out, not even buckled in certain buckles and stuff. Anyway, that's why civilians don't need plate carriers, because so much other stuff more important. Being able to move, shoot, communicate supersedes a plate carrier, guys. But there's a lot of different attachment systems as well. Some of them you lift up like this in Velcro. Other ones have clips. I don't really like any of the clip ones. I'm always worried that plastic might break. I don't like plastic. As few plastic as possible. I really like Velcro. This one here is all Velcro. Awesome. I've had it for probably 10 years now, and almost 10 years now, maybe like 7 years now. And it just goes. So I love Velcro attachments. Anything that's not going to break, anything that's simple, anything that's flat and streamlined, anything that's not going to be clinking and clanking like plastic buckles can do. The size of the area here on the front and the back, make sure it can hold the plate that you want. Make sure the size of the plate carrier itself is big enough for you. Like we talked about those guys that can't get into their plate carriers and that you see on the militia pictures and videos. Like we talked about with this right here being just barely big enough for me. And would have liked it a little bit longer or a little bit more adjustability. So that's the basic rundown of plate carriers. Questions, comments below. Let me know what you think, what you want to see more of. I've got some armor backpacks that I can do a future video on that if you guys want to see that. They're tailor-made body armor backpacks that have a plate carrier built into them. I think they're really gimmicky and I don't like them at all. There's very highly specified uses for them. I've trained with them and I don't like the design of them. I think they're very poor designs and they're maybe not terrible production, but the design and the idea behind it, they could be made so much better, first of all, and then even the people that might use or need something like that is highly specified. If you want to throw a body armor rifle plate, ceramic plate in your kid's school backpack, that's great. The Grayman Operations Pack that you see right there has the laptop sleeve in there, and that's a wonderful opportunity to throw a HESCO plate, a level 4 HESCO plate right into there. And now, you're protected from getting shot in the back from a rifle. Awesome. And nobody knows it. Lots of considerations out there. I've got videos here on the channel as well on undershirts that have plate carrier sleeves in them. They are pretty weird. Even the good ones, they don't hold the plates as well as you might think. And so they're kind of, even though they're elastic, like Under Armour style shirts, the plate still wants to kind of ride around and move around a little bit. I would not recommend those. Something like this would be much better because it's pretty thin anyway and it's pretty concealable. I just put this on and then put a Under Armour shirt, then this, and then put a El Sicario covert concealed carry shirt over the top of this, and I'm good to go. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Click the bell when you're subscribed, because if you guys are subscribed, you may not get notified for my videos. Tons of people are telling me I never see when you put videos up. Make sure you click that bell so you get notified when I put new videos up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Please share the video with a friend. It's a very intricate process doing all this stuff, setting all this up to make these videos. And I put a lot of work into this for you guys. So of course, this is all free information. Nobody's asking you for anything as far as money or not really putting any work into anything yourselves. All I ask is that you keep being awesome, keep being great subscribers, friends and followers, and that in doing that, you share this with a friend, somebody that may not have seen it. Comment, get involved in the comment section, because it helps me just be able to keep these videos coming. Thanks for watching. Bone out.